The wicked stepbrother. The harmattan wind swept through the dusty streets of Umuokpora, carrying with it the smell of wood smoke from evening cooking fires. The Okeke compound stood tall at the end of the main road, its red brick walls and zinc roofs gleaming under the setting sun. The patriarch, Chief Okeke, was a man of wealth and reputation, owner of vast farmlands, palm oil presses, and several shops in the bustling town market. Chief Okeke had 2 sons. The elder, Obina, was born to his first wife, Adiz, who died when he was just 8 years old. The younger, Chike, came from his second wife, Madam Ifeoma, a woman whose beauty was matched only by her sharp tongue. From the moment Ifeoma stepped into the Okeke household, the peace began to crack. She doted on Chike and barely acknowledged Obina unless it was to scold him. To Obina, it was as if his own home had become foreign territory. Yet he endured in silence, focusing on his studies and helping his father with the business. #whispers in the night. At night, Ifeoma would sit with Chike in their room, speaking in hushed but bitter tones. "Chike, my son," she would say, her eyes narrowing. "Do you know why your father never gives you the bigger farmland or the best clothes? It's because of that boy, Obina. He is Adi's son, the one your father truly loves. You must watch him. One day, everything will be his unless we act." Chike would nod, his young mind absorbing the poison. He was just 13 then, but already he had learned to look at Obina not as a brother, but as a rival. Obina, oblivious to the growing resentment, treated Chike like family. He would bring him roasted maize from the farm, teach him to fish at the river, and help with his schoolwork. But for every act of kindness, Chike saw only competition and insult. ###A sudden death. One rainy season, tragedy struck. Chief Okeke fell ill after a trip to Onitsha and never recovered. Within weeks, the man who had been the pillar of the family was gone. His burial was a grand affair, elders from far and near came, musicians played the ojin and ekwe, and women wailed as tradition demanded. After the mourning period, the family gathered in the parlor for the reading of the will. The lawyer, a thin man with spectacles, cleared his throat. "To my sons, Obina and Chike, I leave all my lands, shops, and houses. They are to be shared equally between them, for they are both my blood." For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air. Then Madam Ifeoma's lips curled in a tight smile. It wasn't enough for her, she wanted it all for Chike. But she said nothing, at least not yet. ###, the poison of envy. In the weeks that followed, Chike's resentment grew into open hostility. He no longer greeted Obina in the mornings. He began avoiding him at the farm, choosing instead to spend time with his mother, who constantly fed his anger. "Look at you," Ifeoma sneered one evening. "You're still young, yet